Another Trooper update. I'm like maybe almost a quarter of the way through, getting there. Anyway, first video, it's called Balls Out on Fremont Street or something like that. Two interesting stories. One, go to about 8 minutes and 20 seconds and watch or listen to the story about the girl who exposed her hand before river action was complete, and then the guy who tried to bluff her off, which is hilarious, and it's the epitome of poor bluffs. It's not enough to know what your opponent has. You need to know how your opponent will react given what he or she has. And the sizing was terrible, and just the thought was terrible in the first place, and Trooper understands that, and he explains it. Also in that video is, at about 12 minutes and 50 seconds, there's another story about a guy who couldn't grasp what a 5-card hand means. In poker, you play your best 5-card hand, and he doesn't understand that quads requires a kicker. And that's funny in itself, but then everyone, what's actually pretty annoying, is everyone at the table trying to explain to him, trying to teach him poker. You shouldn't be trying to get your opponents better, you should be trying to get your opponents worse. If people ask me, like this happens all the time, you play a hand against someone and you win, and the person asks you, oh man, how could I have lost less? What should I have done on the turn there? And I usually give the worst advice that is believable, because I want my opponents to get worse, not better. Usually I just kind of respond but don't say anything, but if they're like really hassling me for a response, I give them the absolute worst advice that I think they'll believe, so that they play even worse next time. Yeah, you shouldn't be trying to make your opponents better in anything, just doesn't make sense. So that one video had those two great stories. The video called Kung Fu Master is great. It's Trooper reacting to a video that was several years old. I just thought it was great, his reactions to it. I didn't think the original video was that bad, especially considering like video editing wasn't that like great of an art, and like Trooper wasn't that deep into it yet. I didn't have a problem with that video. I remember watching that video for the first time, but Trooper's reaction to how bad it was, he also kind of took like 8 minutes to tell a very simple story, but at the time I didn't really realize that. But watching it again and watching him reacting to it was funny. And he did at least a second reaction video. I don't remember the title of that one, but he did it at least twice. I enjoyed both. So if you're not going to go back and watch every single Trooper video from day one, I think you'll have a good time watching him react to that video. The Kung Fu Master title is how to get to that one. And another video, I know I've put these in there before, about him considering quitting vlogging, or maybe he wasn't considering it, maybe people thought he might, or like he said something one day and people thought it might be coming. I remember times where he actually like thought about it, and I remember times where people just thought he would because like he took a week off or something. But it's whether or not you like Trooper, this second mini poker boom that we're in is due to him and him starting poker YouTube channels. He had the first, at least the first that was like very popular and mainstream. So he started a lot in terms of content creation and popularity. So glad that every time he considered quitting, he didn't. This video I think was mid 2016, and if he just stopped then, I think Nimi had just started his channel and he was the second guy I remember having a channel, but if he stopped, I don't know what would have happened. Glad he never stopped, and going back to 2012 until today, he's never stopped. He hasn't stopped yet, so go back and watch that video if you want. I think it was kind of deep and interesting what he talked about. So those 3 videos this time, really enjoyed them, and I will continue my journey through Trooper videos. And remember, rice is a spoon food.